shed 431 points. The S&P dipped 1.38. The NASDAQ composite fell 1.78. And now there's concern that they may raise interest rates 50 basis points. That's according to comments by St. Louis Federal Reserve James Bullard. Now, remember, they created, 521,000 jobs in January? And you know what that is.
Bullshit.
Philadelphia Fed manufacturing gauge plunges unexpectedly. Unexpectedly by who? Who is unexpected? Oh, the shitheads that we only talk to that are a member of the club. % of Americans, I'm not great at math, but I know that's really a small number, own 40% of the country's assets, and 0.1% reaped 43% of the latest round of tax benefits, according to the OECD. The OECD also reports that the United States is now third among the most unequal industrialized societies after Russia and Mexico. I could keep going on, but I'm not going to. America also ranks number 1 in prescription drug use, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Our debt level is 200% times the gross domestic product. Those are levels worse than during the Depression. So yeah, the equities are going up, and we're still very bullish on gold. It had spiked and now it's pulled back, but we're still bullish on it. We said both would go up when the Fed raises rates only 25 basis points. You got 4.50 to 4.75 interest rate, but you have inflation at 6.5%. So inflation's still running hot. The markets are going up because investors bet rates are close to peak levels. It's not about investors, they're gamblers. The rest of the economy is going down. We're talking about the firing of temporary workers. When the temps are fired, that's a signal that there's the worst that's yet to come. And they started firing them during the holiday season, which they should have been hiring. And you go back to the panic of 2008, you saw it coming when they started firing temporary workers. Same thing with this. Bank of England, they expressed similar sentiments to the Fed. They raised them a half a 50 basis points, and so too did the EU. But when you're looking at the real damage going on, yeah, the stocks are going up, but the global economy is going down. The United States is on track to add nearly $19 trillion to its national debt over the next decade, $3 trillion more than previously forecast. Congress nonpartisan budget scorekeeper now projects that U.S. economy will barely grow this year. Wait a minute, they said it's going to grow. No, because they're saying the truth over here. Not when you add in inflation. So it's dragflation. The economy's going down as interest rates go up. So America's not number 1, and that's a major trend shaping the world. And so as we look at these trends and we see what's going on, I mention this too, because people, and they say to me, but we look at America as the beacon of democracy. They've done so much, and yes, they have. And as I said, it breaks my heart. They're not a democracy. They're a plutocracy. When I was a kid growing up, you talk about propaganda, and growing up in the Cold War and propaganda, and talking about the Soviet Union, they say, they had an election in the Soviet Union. They have a one-party system. 98% of the people got reelected. Yeah, just like in America. That's the number, folks. 98% get reelected of the incumbents in the general election. It's a plutocracy. You have to be either rich or suck up to special interests to get to the top.
Amid persistent inflation, 54 of Americans are using savings to pay for everyday expenses. Isn't that great? But more money for the war machine. Investor home purchases plunge in fourth quarter. Investor home purchases. The bigs that are buying up everything that the plantation workers of Slavelandia can't afford, so the plantation workers have to rent from them. Nationally, the share of home purchases made by investors remained relatively stable, Redfin found. In the fourth quarter, investors accounted for about 18%, nearly 20% of the total homes purchased nationally, only down 1% from a year ago. Can you imagine this? This never existed until the Panic of '08, when those scumbag bankster bandits were given, hey, you don't have a job, you owe a lot of money, you're deep in debt, don't worry about it, sign over here, it's called a subprime mortgage. And then when everything crashed and people had to sell their homes, they started buying up. The Blackstones, yep, all of them, buying up. It's disgusting what's happened to this country. The higher these interest rates go, all the people with adjustable rate mortgages, all the businesses that borrow money that have variable rate mortgages, the governments that are deep in debt now paying more because interest rates are going up. So yeah, the equities are going to go up, but this economy is going to keep going down. And it's going to go down big, and it's going to go down hard. Not right away, but it's going to progressively get worse and worse and worse. UK traders now expect the BOE's next rate rise to be its last in the cycle. And in the Eurozone, markets expect rates to peak at 3.25% in the summer, up from the current level of 2.5%. 2.5% when you're looking at inflation rates in the UK and the EU that are killing the people. These interest rates are nothing compared to inflation. So when you put the inflation numbers compared to the interest rates are still deep in negative territory. It will prop up the equity markets as we had forecast now for what, the last 3 weeks in the Trends Journal? But the economies are going to go down.